I figured that there would be some challenges along the way that I would need help with.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I joined mostly for the opportunity because I know that when we're surrounded in community with people who are doing the same thing, we can learn from each other, we can support each other, we can give each other ideas. And so that's why I joined All Stars.
Hello, and welcome to the Preschool All Stars podcast. I'm Bethany Johnson, and I'm joined today by Maureen Tanai. How are you doing today, Maureen?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
Yeah, we're looking forward to getting your story today. First, let's get a little background about where you were before you started your preschool journey. What was going on? What's your educational background or work background before you decided to go into this?
So I have a long history. I'm 35 years old, so I'll try to keep it as short as possible. So after graduating high school, I went to a community college, and 2 months into it, my brother was killed.
Oh, wow. So
So I
sorry.
had a hard time going back to school. I kept
Yeah.
going, but I was very distracted, and it was difficult. So I had a teacher who let me know, hey, if somebody is running a marathon and they break their leg, first they have to heal, and then they can practice running again. So she
Mm-hmm.
suggested that I stop going to school for a while and take care of myself, and then go back to school. So I figured she was older, wiser, smarter. So I said, okay, I think I'll go ahead and do that. So I went to work, and I moved out of my parents' house, lived in my grandparents' rental. And then I realized I didn't want to be in my 50s taking care of teenagers. So I wanted to have a family. So
Mm-hmm.
so I met my husband, we got married, we had children. And then this is the kicker. I did not know that daycare would be so expensive. I figured, hey,
Yep.
all the parents, yeah, like all the parents out there put their kids in daycare. And so that means that it must be affordable. But then
Right.
I realized, wait a minute, I cannot pay for daycare making minimum wage.
Mm-hmm.
And why would I want to pay someone to take care of my children when I want to be the one to take care of them and teach them? So I had experience teaching catechism for 2 years, and I loved it. I loved preparing lessons and doing activities for children. So when I had my son, I wanted to teach him. And so I found a co-op preschool and I put him in that, and I volunteered at the preschool, and I loved it. And so we did that. And so my plan was when he started kindergarten, I was going to go work at the elementary school, maybe as a paraprofessional or something like that. So I
Okay.
know I love teaching and tutoring and helping children. Lo and behold, I got pregnant with my second. And I told my husband, I said, oh my goodness, I cannot go another 5 years without working. What am I going to do? That is
Mm-hmm.
10 years of my life. I'm not putting money into Social Security. And I was like, okay, I have to do something. And so a light bulb went off, and I said, wait a minute, I bought all of these teaching materials for my son, to tutor my son, because he was in a play-based preschool, but I wanted him to be ready for kindergarten because
Mm-hmm.
Common Core doesn't totally fit in with play-based. So I was
Right.
like, okay, I want him to be prepared and well-rounded. So I figured, I have all of these teaching materials. Why don't I have a daycare? So I didn't have a teaching degree or a credential or anything like that. So I took child development in high school. I took one class and I loved it. So I
Mm-hmm.
knew that one day when I had the opportunity, I would go to school again and pursue child development. So at that point, all I had was a few business classes. So I said, you know what, I can do this. So when he was about 18 months old, I wanted to make sure he was weaned first and I was ready to give attention to children when I had my little one.
Mm-hmm.
So when he was 18 months old, I opened my daycare, but I wanted it to be a preschool, but I didn't have like the degree to call it
Right.
preschool.
Right.
So it was a daycare with a preschool program.
Okay.
That's what I did. And so when my oldest child got a little older, I had an after school program.
Okay.
And so I figured I was really good at it because the children excelled. They got caught up in school. They were happy. Parents were happy. And so I said, okay, even though I don't have a degree, I am making a difference. Children's academics are improving. So what does it matter? Like I have the talent for it.
Mm-hmm.
So I did that. I opened in 2016. And then in 2019, I turned in my license to move because licenses are attached to the location.
Okay.
Moved to the area where I live in now. And one of the reasons why we moved is because, when it comes to business, it's all about location, 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 right? We hear this everywhere.
Yeah.
And so I wasn't in the right location. First of all, the cost of living in the Bay Area was extremely expensive.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
still extremely expensive.
Yep.
And so I wanted to provide, a niche market offering a personalized learning plan for each child. And so although families there could afford it, it was difficult for many reasons. And so I spoke with my husband and we realized that where we live now might be the best location for what I want to do.
And where do you live now?
We live in Elk Grove, California.
Okay. So
Yeah.
then you opened up there an in-home program. Is it still preschool or is it after school?
So I actually didn't reopen here for daycare because after I transferred everything over, we moved here January 2020.
Okay.
When I was done unpacking and ready, I was about to go to the licensing office to apply for my license again. But that was in the middle of March, and that was the same time when everything shut down.
Closed, yeah.
So I decided to focus on my children, and I had to help them adapt to moving and then adapt to a new school and everything. So I decided to put my career on hold and focus on my children because, they grow up so fast and I don't want to mess it up. So
Yeah.
they come first.
Yep.
So I focused on them. The spring went great. Distance learning went wonderful for my oldest son. My youngest one was still in his preschool age.
Okay.
So so he did well. All of the homework was due on the Friday. It didn't matter what time he woke up. Things were pretty flexible. It worked out well for him. Everything was wonderful. So I was thinking about opening up an online preschool. It was on my mind. I kept seeing on social media how parents were concerned about how their child was going to be ready for kindergarten. And something that kind of held me back a little bit was the cost. I was like, how much would I charge? Would I be able to afford it? And so I did the math, and it would take, if I charged everyone $50, it would take about 100 students for me to make as much money as I would in a full small home childcare. And so I was like, do I want to put in the extra time, the extra work for 10 times less pay? And so I thought about it, and then 4th of July happened, and I woke out of bed. I woke up, I got out of bed. I was like, you know what? I'm not really happy. Even though my kids are great, something's missing. So I reflected on that, and I realized, I'm not doing what I'm passionate about. My talent, my God-given life purpose, I'm not utilizing. And I said, I love teaching. And even though I'm doing that for my children, I'm like, I want to do so much more. So I said, you know what? I realized that, this is what I want to do. And even though I told my husband, I said, even though I don't make money from it, even if I don't make a penny from it, I want to do it because it's something to get me out of the bed during the pandemic.
Yeah.
I don't want to be depressed. I have to, and I know that to make sure I don't get depressed, I have to make sure I have something to live for, something to get excited about. So yeah, it was the Monday after the 4th of July, I decided, hey, I'm going to open up my online preschool. And I had 3 weeks to put it together and adapt everything that I did in person to do online. And I had to market it and advertise it. So I only had like 3 weeks. And so when I heard Joy's story and I read her book, I was like, man, we are so similar because, I only had 3 weeks. And I had to make it happen because I felt that this was the time that, parents are looking for something for their children. So I had to do it. I had to make it happen. And so I told my friends on Facebook, I said, hey, I'll give it to you guys for absolutely free. Just absolutely free because I want to do this from my heart. I want to do it. And then when they came on and I put it on, I think a Facebook post and so some Facebook social groups, mom groups. I put it up there. And so I had 8 children. And so I let them know, I said, hey, actually, this was the time when I realized it wasn't going to be as low cost for me to operate as I thought. But that's because of me. It's my fault because it's my passion. So whatever we're passionate with, we're going to spend money on it, right?
Right.
We're passionate with purses, we're going to buy purses.
So what were some of the costs that you found you were accruing there?
So I wanted to purchase Zoom for more than half an hour. I didn't want like the free one. I wanted to do a full hour so we could do field trips and, I could have more freedom with it. So I purchased Zoom. I still had my website. I decided to sell my daycare van.
Okay.
So I wouldn't have to have that expense. That was a huge expense, and I never want to do that again. It was a mistake for a small business. It was a mistake.
Yeah.
And so, it was that expense. And then I had to purchase, it was a lot of time. I had to spend a lot of time. I was working volunteering about 60 hours per week.
Wow.
Or I was, my husband works outside of the home.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm with my children all day. So they need me a lot. And I have ADD. Mm-hmm. So for anyone who has ADD, it's not impossible. You do? Okay, cool. Yeah. 1 in every 10 people have ADD.
Yeah.
So it's very difficult. So during daycare, I am able to go back and forth. Actually, ADD helps me in daycare because I'm vigilant with everything that's going on. That I have to pay attention to everything. Mm-hmm. It actually helps me. But with online, it's tricky when my children need me, but I have to be online. So it's really tricky.
Yep.
I have to do all the lesson planning and everything that I want to do when they go to bed. So sometimes I'll go to bed at 1 a.m. or something like that. But it's because I want to.
So when you started your online program, was it with Joy's plan, or was it did you use her method with the teaching time and the preschool pals time, or was that before? Did you start it before you used Joy's stuff?
So I learned about Joy. It was either the end of December. No, actually, it was the very beginning of January. Yeah, I learned about Joy in the beginning of January, and I opened up in August. Okay. And I decided to sign up with Joy because since 2016, at least 30% of my revenue went toward advertising. And that is a big no-no, right?
Yeah.
We should be spending about 8% of our revenue on advertising, not a whopping 30%.
Right.
So I realized that the reason why I wasn't making a profit or as much of a profit is because I was spending it on advertising that was not working.
Right.
So I signed up with All Stars and everything. I purchased the book, Preschool in a Box. I think it was like the last week of January. So I'm kind of doing all the steps, everything all at once. So it's just a little overwhelming. But I'm doing it because I need Joy's expertise. I need to know, okay, what kind of advertising actually works in this business? Because I have all my daycare friends, all my daycare provider friends said, hey, it's all word of mouth. I'm like, well, is that going to work for me? Because my best friends no longer live in the state, and
you're starting all over.
Yeah, and I'm like, how do I make friends? How do I have a social life when I was working in daycare, working all day long, 24/7? And I have my own children. I'm like, how do I make friends? So, yeah.
Yeah, starting over is hard to get the word of mouth. I feel like you have to get the people in, and then you can get the word of mouth. But first you got to get a few people in. And if you're starting over, from scratch in a new place, then you're not going to have that word of mouth right there in that area.
Right. So I had 8 families in August, and now I have 20.
Nice. So now are you getting the word of mouth?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. And that's in your online program, right?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So give us a little lowdown about how your online program works. What are the times and how does it run? You said it runs for an hour at a time?
It runs for up to an hour. So one thing I want to do is not have as much, I don't want to have that much stress. I want to keep my stress level as low as possible. so I can have more fun and be more excited about what I'm doing.
Hmm.
I tell parents it's on average about half an hour, but it can last for up to an hour depending on what we're doing.
Okay.
There's more flexibility for parents. And also after circle time, children can socialize up until the end of the hour.
Okay.
Works out perfectly. So it's about an hour, could be a little less.
Okay. What's your like format? Like
Okay.
you,
So I will be adding teaching time in Preschool Pals for the younger children.
okay.
Once I can read it through and do everything. But right now, what I'm doing is Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I have a circle time at 9 o'clock and at 2 o'clock. It's the same exact one. And
Okay.
families can decide to come to either or.
Okay.
So if their children wake up late or if they have something to do in the morning, they can come to the 2 p.m. one. So it
Okay.
doesn't really matter which one. Circle time is for all ages, really, ages 2 through even up until 10. I have some preschoolers whose siblings join them and they
Hmm.
want the circle time. And so I want to make sure that it's something that most children, if not all children, don't know about yet. So it's centered around themes. We just did outer space, and I screen shared some videos from the International Space Station. So that way
Hmm.
they got to actually see it and experience it. And
Hmm.
I think it's a lot better than just reading a book, although I did that as well.
Yeah.
So I have a circle time. In addition to the circle time, they have a personalized learning plan, which everything that we did locally in person, I'm having children do at home. So it's about 1 hour of learning activities with things that they don't know yet. So I believe that when children just practice things that they don't know yet, they have more time to play and learn through play. So this way they're ready for kindergarten, but they also have a lot of time to play. It's important for their brain development. So,
So do you give them each an assessment individually?
so I give each child an initial assessment, and whatever I gather from that assessment, whatever they don't know yet, I actually create a personalized learning video for them,
Oh, wow.
teaching them what they don't know. It's not as long as it takes. Actually, locally, it would take me a lot more time. But thankfully, I've done it online because it has taught me how to be more efficient with the video.
Mm.
So yeah, it doesn't take me a lot of time, but parents don't know that. But that's okay. I want them to think I'm putting a lot of extra special time on that.
Right, right. So each kid gets its own little video? Gets its own little video? Wow.
And
That's really cool.
yeah, I thank you. I can update it about once every week as well. So once they
Okay.
master something, I take something out and I put something in. And so I have these video clips in which I do that.
Wow. So yeah, no wonder it takes you a long time. That's a lot, especially for the 20 kids to make new videos every week. But I guess you can take like if one kid is working on this letter and then he masters it, then you could take that clip for a kid we're still working on that skill and kind of mesh it together. Is that what you do?
Yeah, so I kind of just pick and pull.
That's cool. Yeah, that's a really cool way to do it. Well, that's awesome. How did the preschool all stars, how did they help you figure out, that your plan? How did they help you along the way?
So it's amazing because, we never know who will come across. And so
Hmm.
I decided to join All Stars because I know running a daycare for about 4 years that there's a lot of problems that can come during the way, especially with clients.
Hmm.
Parents sometimes they have different needs or, they just want different things for their child. There's a lot of parenting philosophies out there, a lot of everything really. So, I decided to join All Stars because I figured that there would be some challenges along the way that I would need help with.
Hmm.
But also I joined mostly for the opportunity because I know that when we're surrounded in community with people who are doing the same thing, we can learn from each other, we can support each other, we can give each other ideas. And so that's why I joined All Stars. And you know what? It's so amazing because I think it was last week. I have a neighbor who lives maybe not so much of a neighbor. Where I live now, everyone seems like a neighbor because of the way everything's set up.
Uh-huh.
She lives down the street from me, but 5 minutes away. Not that far. Anyway, she let me know that she is an All Stars too. And I said, how did you find me? And she recognized my name from a local moms group on
Oh, wow.
yeah, and so she let me know, she messaged me and she said, "Hey, I'm so overwhelmed with all that there is to do here. Do you have any inspiration or encouragement for me?" And I said, and so I talked to her and she had 4 kids. I'm like, oh goodness, from ages 1 through 8, I think it was. Like,
Mhm.
oh wow, I'll try to help. um, so I let her know that she wants to do Spanish immersion and I
Mhm.
don't speak a second language. So I let her know, and she let me know that she's available on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And so I was like, wait a minute, things fit here. I said, how about I go through my clients, whoever wants to take a Spanish class, they have it with her. And then
Mhm.
whoever needs to prepare for kindergarten, that sees her, she can refer them to me. And that way we have shared clients. So this way, instead of having a competitor, we have, a partner.
Absolutely. That is so cool. Wow, that's awesome. So what are your big plans for your next step? Are you looking to still do a local or are you going to keep it all online?
It really depends on, where the demand is. So I really like online for tutoring and enrichment. Also for families who might not live local to me,
Mhm.
might not live locally, and also for families who were in my local program, but they decided to move away but want to keep doing what they're doing with their personalized learning. So I want to always keep it open to serve those families, but I really do miss actual teaching right with a child and reading the directions to them and showing them because
Mhm.
I love tutoring. That's where my talent is too. And I don't do so much of that online. So it's not
Mhm.
as hands on. It's more teaching parents how to do what I do. And sometimes that's challenging because sometimes parents are not as passionate as I am. And so it's
Mhm.
hard for me to meet the goals that I have for children when I need the parents to kind of work with me, and they may or may not do that.
Right.
So
Yeah. So possibly down the road you want to kind of get back into the in person a little bit or maybe do both.
I do want to do both. Yeah. And
Yeah.
I'll have to change the online one a little bit
Yeah.
to allow for that. But
Mhm.
it depends on where the demand is, where I'm going to focus more of my attention. But I do want to make sure that I'm vaccinated and my children are vaccinated before I open up locally.
Right. Yep. That makes sense. That makes sense. And you can also, I mean, you can always even look into hiring a teacher for the online or for some of the days if you focus on the local eventually. So you can do still have both.
Yeah,
That's
I love
always yeah. Yeah. Well, that's awesome. So you said that you were spending a lot of your previously a lot of your money on marketing. What did you change to get that ratio of what you're spending right? And obviously it's been working because you went from 8 students to 20. What did you do? What do you think is your marketing secret there?
well. So I haven't really done too much of learning just because I've just been so busy trying to take care of everything at once. But one thing that I've noticed that I think would really help other people is that when we have a local program, uh, we are we have to abide by ratios, right, and capacities. So when I had a small home daycare, I could only have 6 children. That is up to 6 families who can refer me, and
Mhm.
so that can get me a pretty slow start.
Right.
Right. And so when I had 8 families online, one or two families they referred me to their whole job board, so everyone at work.
Oh, wow.
That's where I got the rest of my clients, minus a few. So
Yeah, that's awesome.
and so yeah, I like online because there is no ratio, and
Mhm.
there is more people who can refer.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely want to have more children that are local, so that way my name can get out there more.
Mhm.
When I do open locally, there are people who know that I exist. So
Yeah, absolutely.
I can open my doors full. But
And the preschool model with the half day preschool model, that really opens up your options for those ratios because like I'm licensed, I can only have 6 kids at a time, but because I have 4 classes, it's actually 24 spots. So that's 24 different families that I can have instead of just 6. I just have 6 at a time for 3 hours a day. So that really helps with the, the limited ratio too with the
yeah,
half day preschool
exactly.
program.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. So, what do you think if you had some words of advice to give any ladies who are just starting out on this journey? What do you think you could say to them who are just thinking, maybe I should join the All Stars, maybe I should start a preschool, but I don't know if I can do it, who are feeling a little discouraged or not sure of themselves? What's some advice you could give to them?
Yeah. So the first thing I would focus on is our passion. We cannot have a fire pit without the fire. We have to have that passion.
Mm-hmm.
So I would recommend focusing on their why. Like, why do they want to do it? What would they get out of it? What would their family get out of it? And why do they want to do what they are wanting to do?
Mm-hmm.
And then I would recommend that they have to make themselves desperate because sometimes that's what we need to do to get moving. We have to get desperate.
Yeah, I totally understand that.
Yeah, if they're pretty comfortable, they're not going to try as hard. And
Mm-hmm.
with anything, with any job, with any business, with anything, cleaning our house, whatever, we have to get like that motivation to get things going. We can't just go with the flow because nothing happens with go with the flow, right?
Yeah. Comfortability is not where growth happens. I was just talking to someone about this.
Yeah, exactly. So we have to find a way to get desperate, whatever it is. And thankfully, my husband, I would never think this before, but thankfully, my husband is not too happy with how much money I'm not making right now. He said, "It's been so many years, you're not making money. Why are you wasting your time?" And so that actually makes me desperate because I'm like, I want him to be happy about me.
Mm-hmm.
I want I want my children to be happy and I want to take them to a lot of places and I want to get them clothes that fit and all of this. So that's where I'm desperate. And I want my parents to be proud of me. So I don't want them to think, oh, I'm mooching off of, my husband or them or whoever. I'm like, I want to feel good about myself. So I want to have good self-esteem and I want to feel like that I'm actually contributing not just to children that I teach, but to my family because, my family's there for me. I have to be there for them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the second thing. So first know our why and then get desperate. And then the third one is to hustle, hustle, hustle. Because if we're running a race, there are other people starting preschools. They're getting successful because they're just farther ahead in the race. And why are they farther ahead? They're putting more time, more work, and they're thinking smarter. So what can we do to do what we need to do to be where we want to be, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we have to play smart. I don't remember the exact ratio here, but I heard one time that when people play sports, it's mostly mental and a small percentage is physical.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to play things smart. We have to work smarter so we can not work as hard. And even when things get overwhelming, we have to just keep going. When I was in high school, I was a teacher's assistant for the school registrar, and she had a poster in her office, and it said, "The race doesn't belong to the swift, but to those who keep on going." Sometimes people go full throttle in the beginning, and then they burn out, or they go full throttle in the beginning and they don't see results. We live in a society where people are used to instant gratification. We
Mm-hmm.
want the TV on, we press a button. We want to send someone a message, we press a button. Instant gratification. But reality is not like that. When we plant a seed, it takes time for it to grow. We need to water it every day. So it's all about consistency and keep going. Don't forget to water your plant.
Mm-hmm.
And and then the next thing is to have a schedule. If someone has 4 children, there has to be some time where they can spend half an hour or so per day. Even if it's 10 minutes, an hour, half an hour, just keep it consistent. Maybe not do it on Sunday or have a break day. That's fine. But whatever you do, keep it consistent. And ideally at the same time every day because, people are used to, accustomed to schedules and routines. It just makes it easier. Just have the same time every single day and have a plan, what we want to do on a specific day. So people who fail to plan to fail.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to add it in. If someone's house is clean, it's clean because they're doing something to keep it clean every single day. If our children are growing, it's because we're feeding them every single day. Some things we have to do every single day. And if we want something to grow and to prosper, we have to do it every single day.
Mm-hmm.
So stay consistent. When there's a challenge, ask for support. Have a list of friends and people, or even, the All Stars group. If we have a challenge, ask ourselves who can meet that challenge and go only to that person. If we have a friend who's very judgmental, they might not be the right person to go to for support when something's going wrong with their business. They
Mm-hmm.
might just jump into judging, oh, well, maybe you should have done this, should have done that. That's not going to get us further. We have to be around positive people.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to find a friend who is solution-oriented, who likes to solve problems. Go to that friend. Don't go to the friend that's going to just bog us down, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what's so great about the All Stars group, because I feel like they're all there just to like be that person, that support person. So you have like hundreds of people who are just there to be your support, even if you don't know them. And then you got to meet one in person, and now you have like a new friend to partner up with. That's so cool.
And what I love about the All Stars group is that nobody's negative.
Yeah.
Edgy. And
They're all there to help.
Absolutely not. I'm in a couple daycare provider groups, and it's sad, but sometimes people bash on each other and they point to each other. I'm like, this is why I don't like having friends that are girls, because this is like high school drama. I don't want it. But the All Stars group, it's all uplifting. It's all positive, all support, and the ideas that everyone has is just, it's so valuable.
Agreed. Yeah. Awesome. Well, Maureen, thank you so much for sharing your story. And I want to wish you all the best of luck in your next step, and just congratulate you for getting to where you are now. Sounds like you have an awesome program in place.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me.
Of course. I really appreciate you talking to me. You have an awesome day.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
If you'd like to have a success story just like that one, I invite you to join our Preschool All Stars. It's my exclusive membership community where you'll get mentorship from me with weekly Q&A lives, support and guidance, and friendship from hundreds of women on the exact same journey as you, starting, running, and growing their preschools, and my exclusive access to Preschool University, every training and done-for-you file that you'll need for every milestone on your journey to help you start, run, and grow your preschool. We've all been there, and we've got the exact same steps that you need to go through, but we do it all very quickly so that you don't have to waste time or money doing the wrong things at the wrong time. We'd love for you to join our Preschool All Stars membership. Just go to preschoolallstars.com or click the link in the description to immediately jump into Preschool All Stars. Again, go to preschoolallstars.com and we'll see you there.